Can you hear me? CFB Plus. Yes? No? Okay, let's get this thing going. Let's get this thing going. Let's go. Oh, boy. Woo! Holy smokes. Okay, we are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. I know you can hear me. Is the audio better than last night? Are we back to normal? Are we back to normal? Is it better than last night? Yes, we're good. Okay, enough of that. The option of the Yeti stereo microphone, which is this thing, is not popping up every time. It should automatically be there. I should not have to worry about it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if somebody is coming in and messing with. I don't know if we're getting. I don't know if this is cloak and dagger. I don't know what's going on, guys. We are going to have to do a secure. I'm being honest. We're going to have to do some type of security check. Is somebody coming in and messing with our? Something's going on. Anyways, we got a lot to get to today. It was a done deal a while ago. Not months and months ago. But it has been a done deal. Again, and we said it last night, we said it last week, we said the Gonzaga to the PAC-12 is going to happen. We said it last night when we talked about the UConn. The UConn's a different animal with the Big 12. Brett McMurphy. And I'm sorry I had to put this. Look, I had to put it out there because so many people got it. This is the tweet I just put out. Does anybody read anymore? Brett McMurphy's original reporting post said Gonzaga is leaving for the Pac-12. Not that the move was official at the time of his report. I understand morons not getting it right, but there's a lot of professional people out there who've completely lost their mind over the original reporting. And we've got the word here at Peek Around the Corner that it was going to happen. It was just a matter of getting that official vote done and release. Brett McMurphy's original reporting was absolutely correct. If you bothered just to read the words, if you bothered to read the reporting and not be so anxious to take a shot, we had heard the same thing. We reported it to you all that it was a done deal. It wasn't. McMurphy did not jump the gun. He said look at his original reporting. And I'm going to show it to you guys if I can find it here. It was September 23rd. I took note of it because shortly after that, we got the word that it was going to happen. It was just a matter of when they were going to vote on it. They were going to get some other ducks in the row, the Pac-12, and they're working on that. Here, I'm going to show you the original reporting. He did not say it was a done deal. He did not say it was official at the time of his reporting. And of course, now I cannot find the original reporting. Here it is, right here. People got to read. Read first. Gonzaga leaving the West Coast Conference to join the Pac-12. The Pac-12 still needs a minimum of 2 football members, but Gonzaga will receive a full conference revenue share in Pac-12, source said. They're going to be leaving the West Coast Conference to join the Pac-12. There was no mention that it was official. And if you have listened to Brett McMurphy on 365 Sports and other interviews, he said, I did not say it was official. I say it's going to happen, and everybody take note and keep a watch on it. We've had to do the same thing here at Peek Around the Corner. Anyways, enough of that. This is big news on its face. Gonzaga is leaving for the Pac-12. Are they going to be the only West Coast Conference team to leave to the Pac-12? Is St. Mary's? I don't know. This is a football YouTube channel. But it's big news for a football conference in the Pac-12 because suddenly their basketball got a whole lot better. And their basketball being a whole lot better could help their football team, their football programs. And Pete Thamel just reported. Let me get to, we got a lot to get to today. This is why, even though nothing was working last night, things have not been working for the past week. And I do apologize for all that. The Pac-12 has made it official. Pete Thamel, Gonzaga, they'll be updating throughout the day. Here it is. Gonzaga is leaving for the Pac-12. We've also got some other news that according to Pete Thamel, UTEP is in the final stages. Let me get a better one here. An announcement of UTEP joining the league is expected today per ESPN sources. The reason why it was so important for PATC to come live last night on a second live show, even though nothing was working, is because we were told things were going to happen quickly today. And that's why I wanted to give you guys the peek around the corner last night. Also, UTEP, it looks like there's going to be an announcement. Is Texas State going to make an announcement for the Mountain West? We don't know. I wish I could give you the peek. I do not know. Last night, an emergency live show, we told you that North Dakota State has anxious moments. They had an anxious night last night. They don't know if they're going to get the invitation. The domino pieces are ahead of them. But for the very first time, North Dakota State, South Dakota State are ready to say yes. If the invitation comes to them, we don't know if it's going to happen. We don't know. We said it last night. We don't know. But they are ready. They're ready to say yes. Is it going to get down to them? I don't know. If it doesn't, and if the Sun Belt loses a team, if a Conference USA loses another team besides UTEP, is North Dakota State, South Dakota State willing to go to the Conference USA? I don't think so. They haven't been in the past, but maybe they're going to change their minds. But right now, North Dakota State and South Dakota State are seeing where the dominoes fall when it comes to the Mountain West. So far, it looks like UTEP is in. We're waiting on Northern Illinois. We're waiting on Toledo. We're waiting on Texas State. If they get all 4 schools, then they become an 11-member, they become 11 football programs, right? 11. With 10 full memberships. If all 4, Toledo, Northern Illinois, UTEP, and Texas State go into the Mountain West, they would become an 11 football members with 10 full members. I do believe I've got that correct. Hey, Greg, any chance Memphis or somebody reconsiders if the MAC pops an offer now with Gonzaga? Great question. It sounds like Memphis is willing to listen to another offer. A couple weeks ago, Justin, my reaction would be no. It's not going to happen now. But when you listen to the words of Memphis athletic director, yeah, I think maybe the door is open just a little bit. So my first take on it would be incorrect. I didn't think it was a possibility. But I think maybe it could happen. Chances are probably pretty slim. Indiana State to the Mountain West Conference. Daniel Montcastle. Don't believe North Dakota State, South Dakota State will be invited to the PAC. They're not. I don't think that is in the realm of possibility. It's always been about the Mountain West for North Dakota State, South Dakota State, or the AAC. We have learned that over the last 4 or 5 years. Thanks for coming on in. We're going to do a quick roll call here. And then we're going to see if our phone lines work. That is the last part of this puzzle that we're trying to get everything to work here at Peek Around the Corner. Our streaming is a lot better now. We're not having all that problems. Now the audio went pear-shaped on us. It looks like we got that back together. The audio option that I need to use isn't automatically populating. I have no idea why that is going on. I don't know what is going on, but I'm going to have to make triple sure that I've got the right audio option before I hit that live streaming button. So I appreciate all of you, your patience. I'm sorry that the host of the show is a complete moron, but it just happens to be the case. Just happens to be the case. Yes, there is that transition period. That is one. Thank you, Jeff Morgan, for bringing that up. It's one of the negative aspects of bringing an FCS program up to the FBS. Like what James Madison's been going through. They have not been able to be, in the couple years past, they have not been able to be postseason eligible. So do you really want to bring in schools that are not postseason eligible? That is a negative when it comes to North Dakota State and South Dakota State. Florida, man, too many changes happening. Let's go through a roll call. CFB +2. Thank you, CFB Plus, for being there to say what is going on with my audio. Wow. It's been a tough week, guys. It's been a tough week to keep this thing going. We had to do an update on the computer. I think everything has just gone crazy here. But hopefully we figured everything out. Secret Agent is in the house. Gerald Jones, Steve-O, John Bennett, Grant Greach is in the house. Gary, Connie Jensen, Movie Time Blues, Charles Chamberlain is in the house. Mr. Colorado State, Ramblin' Rams, Tim W is in the house. P. Lit is here. Tumasta, Clinton Moses, Jeff Morgan, Echo Chamber is in the house. John is here. Brad Williams, ECU Pirates is in the house. Keep Choppin' is on a natural. Rutgers High. Holy smokes. Rutgers in Indiana. The fans are going crazy. They deserve it. They've been patient. They deserve it. The Rutgers and Indiana fans absolutely deserve it. Justin Lucas, of course, I destroyed the North Carolina State Wolfpack season, and I hope Mr. Justin Lucas will forgive me. He probably is not going to forgive me this year, but hopefully next year, Justin Lucas opens up his heart and let me back in, and I will not fall in love with the Wolfpack next year, I promise. I'm going to fall in love with some other team and destroy their chances of going to the college football playoffs. Ron Lowney is in the house. Mr. Hoosier Daniel Montcastle is in the house. Kill Ball is here. Cop or Cope, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to go with Cop unless Cop tells me differently. Thanks for coming on in. Ted Tater Adams is in the house. Jimmy is here. Andrew Bennett is here. Holy smokes. Tuffy Duffy is here. Red Raider Laura Weiss is in the house. Mr. Ohio Bobcats. To be honest, I think the Mountain West Conference talking to Northern Illinois and Toledo could be a smoke screen to cover other moves the Mountain West Conference wants to make. Go Black 45, what's up, Greg? Well, hopefully things are looking up. Hopefully we can actually do a program here without a bunch of technical issues getting in the way. Mr. Clemson Bo Weevil is in the house. Random Tees. Perry Stevenson, Tarleton State is in serious talks with the Mountain West Conference. Dave Valinsky is in the house. I think I got everybody. Anyways, we're going to open up the phone lines first, and more importantly, to see if it even works. This is Ross Dellinger. The Pac-12, this is 15 seconds ago. The Pac-12 and the Mountain West now each at 7 full members and 8 total members. They each need 1 more full member to qualify as a conference. Pac-12, Washington State, Oregon State, Fresno, Colorado State, Boise, San Diego State, Utah State. 7 full members, and they need 1 more. Who is it going to be in the Pac-12? Sacramento State? Is that it? Is that what's going to be the 8th member of the Pac-12? The Mountain West Conference. UNLV, Air Force, Wyoming, San Jose State, New Mexico, Nevada, UTEP, Hawaii. Football only. They need 1 more full membership school to become an official conference. Are they going to stop at 1 more? We have been told no. That the Mountain West Conference wants to get back to that strength in numbers. Just in case somebody comes rolling around again looking to expand. We have been told no. Now, again, we'll see what happens. But I think we're going to be seeing more than one more additional to the Mountain Western Conference. They're waiting on Texas State. So if Texas State says yes today, is that it? We don't think it is, but I'm, of course, like always, willing to take the L. But we've been told there could be something else brewing. Of course, your Northern Illinois, your Toledo, and we know that North Dakota State, South Dakota State is waiting to see if the dominoes fall where they can take advantage and they might be able to slip in to the FBS conference. We're going to open up the phone lines here because, Ricky, didn't the ACA just sign a new GOR? You're talking about the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. I do not believe they did. I don't believe the AAC has a GOR. I could be wrong. We know Conference USA does. It's not going to be, when it comes to the Conference USA, I don't think it's going to be too costly to get out of the conference, but I'm not sure on that. Did the Mountain West schools sign some sort of contract to stay together, the 7 members, to make sure that they get that one-time payout money that the Mountain West schools are getting, like UNLV? And I think they signed some sort of contract. I don't think it was a GOR. I don't think the AAC has a GOR. But somebody in the chat or with your phone calls, let me know if I got it wrong. But thank you for the super chat, Ricky. I do not believe the AAC has a GOR. They signed a media deal, but I don't think they have a GOR. I believe the only G5 conference that has a grant of rights is Conference USA, the only G5 conference. Or we should be talking about the only G6 conference. Can the Mountain West Conference flip Wichita State? I don't see how they could. Now, can the Pac-12, would they be interested? Are they just going to bring on Gonzaga as are they going to bring on another basketball-only program, the Pac-12? Thank you, Steve. Something is going correct. Here in the middle of Loserville City, where the studio sits and I am the mayor, finally something positive has happened. Let's open up the phone lines. We got to know if it works. If you call in, if you're the first caller, let me know if you can hear me through the YouTube channel. Last night it did not work. We are praying that this has also been fixed. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Give us a call. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know if the phone line works. Please, please, please. Please, please, please.
Call from
CFP Plus.
CFP Plus, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh! Yes! Oh my gosh. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Oh, that's all I had. I just wanted to see if it worked.
Oh, jeez. You got nothing to say to me then. That's
there's
fine.
Too much to say right now. I'm going to wait till some more reporting come out.
Got it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the call.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Everything's working. It sounds like everything is working. I cannot believe it. I am in a state of shock. I'm in absolute state of shock.
from?
BJ.
BJ, the floor is yours, and it looks like everything's working for the first time in a long time. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, yesterday was crazy. As always, Greg, thanks for letting me speak on your platform. We have some communicating to do. Yesterday there was a few things that were said that I think need to be clarified. There's a few things. One, I mentioned yesterday that your take on potentially three ACC or Big 12 teams making the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I think this is ludicrous to me. Now,
Okay.
allow me to explain my position, because I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yep.
So you and I both know, everybody should know, this current deal, CFP deal, is only 2 years. I think it's this year and next year. Am I correct, or is that correct?
The playoff deal.
Yeah, the CFP deal.
It goes to 2031.
The 12 team deal.
The 12 team. It looks like it's going to go for 2024, 2025. The format has not been officially settled for 2026 to 2031.
Correct.
Yep, you are correct.
So for the next 2 years, we have this. Everybody can join. Best team wins, or best team joins. The leader of each conference, each Power 4 conference, and a G5 representative gets in. And if Notre Dame meets certain requirements, they get in. And essentially, we have 4 open spots to be voted on, or to be voted on. Right? Great. Now, so for the next 2 years, based off the previous 4 or 5 years, it is highly unlikely that an ACC team or a Big 12 team gets 3 teams in.
Yeah,
is that a safe assumption?
Yeah.
Highly unlikely. If you look at, and I'm retired, Greg. I don't know if I told you that. I retired 5 years ago. My birthday is tomorrow too, by the way. And so I spend a lot of my time just doing research, and I like college football.
Yeah.
The last 5-6 years, the Power 2 has consumed about 75 to 80% of the top 15 teams.
Yeah.
If you remove Texas and Oklahoma, you put them with the SEC, right? So that means that it is highly unlikely that the ACC or the Big 12 gets 3 teams in. This year, if you look at the top 16 teams, they're all Power 2 minus 3 teams. Notre Dame, Miami, Clemson, and I think Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken, right? So those are just the facts. So for the next 2 years, I think it's highly unlikely that these 2 conferences get 3 teams in. So that settles up to 2026. From 26 to 31, it is my belief, and it's common industry belief, that the Power 2 wants a bigger slice of the pie. They want 8 teams, right? 4 each, right? Now, in order for that to happen, and the slice of the pie remains the same, the CFP has to go to 16 teams. Has to go to 6. If the Power 2 gets 4 teams each, that's 8 teams. In order for them to stay at 50% of the pie, you have to go to 16. Reputable reports say that the networks are good for 14 teams. They don't know about 16, but 14 is good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if the layout that's been reported, unofficially, either 3-2-2 or 4-2-2, it pretty much takes all the auto bids, takes up all the spots.
Well, if it's 4-4-2-2-1, there'd still be 1 at-large bid.
Okay, 1 at-large bid. And that 1 at-large bid, most likely, you and I both know, is probably reserved for who? Notre Dame.
It won't be reserved. They would have to finish in the top 14. Notre Dame has protections, but it ain't going to be automatically reserved for them. It could be a 5th. It could be a SEC school. It could be a Big 10 school. In theory, it could be a Big 12 ACC school. It won't be reserved for Notre Dame.
what I'm trying to say, Greg, is unofficially, it's something that's written into there. That's kind of like the Notre Dame rule. Since you don't have a conference championship, you don't meet that qualification. If you finish high enough, we're going to allow you to join the party.
Yeah, if they are actually the next best team after you have all those automatic qualifiers go to those 4 power conference in the top G5, if they're the next one on the list, they're going to get it. Absolutely. Yep. So
that's all I'm saying. The next 2 years, I think it's highly unlikely. And I think for 26 to 31, I think the way, and I mentioned this last week, I think the way it's being set up, it's going to be all automatic qualifiers. And if that's the case, and if the ACC and the Big Ten agree to just get 2 automatic qualifiers, it eliminates the opportunity to get 3 teams. It doesn't eliminate it, but it makes it very unlikely.
Okay,
that's all I was saying.
Now let me retort back. Okay.
Okay.
Number 1, that's all I ever said. Very unlikely, but there would be, in theory, the opportunity for the ACC to get a 3rd or Big 12 to get a 3rd place team, a 3rd team. Okay. I never said it was likely. I said all I did first. Let me talk. Number 2, I have no problem with people disagreeing with me in the chat or on phone calls. What I took umbrage with, the reason why I took an elbow back at you is because you used the phrase, Greg, you're losing your credibility. I'm not losing my credibility just because I'm saying it's unlikely, but it may happen, especially when I'm breaking all this stuff, especially when I was the guy who said that the Big Ten was shooting for 4 once again, very aggressively, September 9th, and I said the news was coming out in the next month or 2. My credibility, I'm not losing my credibility. So when someone says that, of course I'm going to take a shot back. And number 3, I am okay with you taking a shot at the Big 12. Just like when I'm looking at people in the chat taking a shot at the Big 10. I see people taking a shot at my beloved Golden Gophers. I rarely ever say a word. People are throwing elbows at each other constantly, hopefully, mostly in good nature. What I do not want my chat room to become, either in the chat room or the phone calls, is someone to troll the other fans. Like to constantly say it within a show that the Big Ten sucks, the AC sucks, Boise State sucks, over and over, to the point where the chat room becomes just the dialogue of one particular subject that really what we're not even talking about on our live show. So I just want to make that clear. I've got no problem with BJ. I've got no problem with Steve Vitt, Lorenzo Haynes, CFB Plus, Grant Greach, Charles Chamberlain, Ma Prof, and everybody else saying, Greg, I think you got this wrong. But when you bring up the phrase, I'm losing my credibility, the credibility that I've built up over the decade, just because I said it's unlikely, but it could happen, I'm gonna take a shot back, BJ. That's the Minneapolis guy that I am. But go ahead, sir. I'll let you finish the call.
Yeah, so Greg, I think it was taken out of context, right? I think it was more tongue-in-cheek. I think I've been following for quite a while now, right?
Well, not everybody knows that in the chat room, so I'm gonna.
Gotcha.
Okay, go ahead.
Gotcha. That's fair, and and I try. I give my opinion. Like I said, I come in here all the time and I give my opinion, and a lot of my opinions is very thought through. And so when I didn't hear when you mentioned that it is unlikely. When I came in, I just heard like 3 teams from the ACC or the Big Ten. I'm like, I don't think I think the Power 2 is trying to make their slices bigger, not smaller. So that was the core of my stance on that. And like I come on here all the time. I'm retired. I retired a couple years ago, like 3 years ago, and I come on here because I like the content.
And I appreciate you coming on in. Yep.
Yeah, and you kind of give an everyday man's perspective on it, and
yes.
I voluntarily come on here to watch that. So when I mentioned that yesterday, it was just tongue in cheek. But I like your content, and just the way things are set out. I think, like I mentioned last week when I called it the Power 2 and the G7, I got pushback. I'm just saying, knowing how the folks at those two conferences work, I don't see them giving more. I see them taking more. And when they formed the alliance, or whatever they want to call it, partnership, it was a step one of in my opinion, a systematic, diabolical plan to eventually serve their network providers. And if we get more teams in the playoffs or automatic bids, every week we're going to have a game of importance that's going to draw eyes. That is, in my opinion, that was the end goal, and it will. And until they get 60-70% of the pie, and make a clear delineation between them and everyone else, because I don't think the Power 2 looks at it as a Power 2, middle 2, bottom 2. I think they look at it as it's us and it's everybody else. And that was my only, that's what I was trying to communicate. My position was, I don't think Petiti or Sankey looks at it anything other than it's us and everybody else. That's why they formed their partnership. But as always, Greg, I appreciate you allowing me to speak on your platform, and I'm going to hop back in the comment section.
You got it. Appreciate it. Thank you for the call, man. Call again, sir. Beautiful. Okay. Hi.
From
Rock and Rant.
Rock and Rant. Appreciate your call.
Of course.
There is some breaking news, but you and I will talk first, and then I'm going to have to shut the phone lines down. The College Sports Tomorrow is proposing the formation of a college student football league. The top 72 FBS schools will be in it. Blah, 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 blah. But go ahead, Rock and Rant, let it rip.
Yeah, and I'm proposing my own league too. I don't even know what that kind of thing is.
I'm proposing a two-team league. Gophers versus somebody that we can beat. And we are declaring our national championship. Go ahead, Rock and Rant.
The PATC too. There you go.
There you go. Yes.
So I'm gonna before we get to those two conference realignment things, I'm gonna join on your side of this debate about the future. And I'm saying this from a perspective of, I still hope and pray that one day Miami will be part of Del P2. So it's more about a general football take.
Yep.
It was. And I know the stats, so I hear the previous caller. I know what they are. But if the Big Ten was so positive that they would always get the 90% of the time 4 teams in, they wouldn't be trying to quantify it, right? If you literally think that Florida State's success aside this year, if everything stayed stagnant in the world, that there's no scenario where Miami, Clemson, Florida State are all in the top 12 of a prospective ranking, and one of them were to lose out at the end of the season to the number 19 team that happens to be that given year the 4th Big Ten team, even in an expander world, like that's completely extreme and would never happen. Like, you can go back a little bit further and find them. So to me, if they're going to get historically that many teams anyway, 90% of the time, why would you eliminate having a massive controversy of potentially somebody as high as like 10 theoretically not getting a slot because they have to bump other schools depending upon if you get to a 14 or 16 scenario? Like, if you're so secure about it, if history is so much leading that way, like, why do you got to put it in there? I think it's a little bit ridiculous for those guys to impose that. I can understand having 3 versus 2 or something weighted to reflect the current reality. But I think it's just a little bit extreme, and you can always find an outlier. And if anything has taught us anything about college football over the last several years, what nobody says will happen can happen, and sometimes happens every week.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and the sports guy in me says, I don't want any of it, and I don't.
Right.
But I know where it's coming from, and it's coming from the networks. So, I don't think
they want to have.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, they want to have more games, that they perceive to have bigger brands for sure. But, I also wonder if they're all going to have that same take after watching the excitement this year about the race for that other slot or two, right? In the college football playoff with how everybody's looking at the G5. And I could be mistaken, and maybe you recall, but the conversation of 14 versus 16 in terms of how much the networks would want. I thought that when you do the math, even if you give a couple people a bye, you still essentially have the same amount of games at 14 versus 16 for some reason. So I don't know whether that really factors into anything, but maybe you recall differently.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know about that. I just know that the networks, because this is where we got the information from, that the Big Ten was pushing hard for 4, and it was going to come out real soon in our live show on September 9th, is because the networks, the Big Ten partners want it. I'm not talking about like ESPN wants it. I'm talking the Big Ten partners want it. And the Big Ten, and if you get 4 automatic qualifiers, there's certainty. It might help grease the skids for further conference expansion. There's other outside elements that could possibly create a semifinal weekend. There's other options open to them. It's as a fan, I don't agree with it. As a person at PATC, the show is, and I'm trying to give people a peek, and I'm just being honest. This is what the Big Ten wants. Don't know if they're going to get it. They're probably going to get it. If they don't get 4, they're going to get 3, but they're really shooting for 4.
Yeah, understood. Ultimately, I think they also have to be conscious of a lot of other factors that make the value of the sport weigh in, while giving themselves the disadvantage that they're going to get just by the sheer size and scale of the brands that they represent. Quick question, because I know you want to get to a breaking news thing.
Yeah.
In terms of Gonzaga in the Pac-12, which makes sense and has been alluded to for a while, wouldn't you think or guess that we're very shortly going to hear about the 8th full member that the Pac-12 needs? Because why would Gonzaga make that announcement, and the conference make that announcement without knowing for sure that the conference's future as a entity is already done, especially in light of the craziness of basically the worst conference realignment draft in a fantasy league that's been going on over the last week or two, where everyone's just trying to draft whoever they can. So do you think that we know who that 8th member is going to be today that seals the deal for the Pac-12?
I'm going to be honest with you guys, like I always am, unless of course I'm spreading Gopher propaganda, or when I'm making my picks against the spread, then I completely fail. I do not know. I have no idea. None. No one has opened that door to me, Rock and Rant. Nobody. I was told that things were going to happen quickly this morning. And that's why one of the reasons I did that live show last night, which went pear-shaped on me. But, yeah, so I know things are happening. Also, Rock and Rant, and I want to also say this. The Gonzaga thing is remember Brett McMurphy's original reporting, which was correct. He also, in that original reporting, said that Gonzaga is going to get a full share. Full share. Right. So, that's how much the Pac-12 wanted Gonzaga. And there's no way Gonzaga can turn that down, right?
Right, for sure.
So, I think we're going to see an official announcement of that. And that is really something. I think that's a big story that we're going to have to explore as we get going here on, the formation of the Pac-12. Once we see what the final formation is, which I don't know what it's going to look like.
Absolutely. And even, this is this kind of moment we're in. It's a perfect example of you don't necessarily need to take L's at certain times if like Memphis situation changes, because at the time that the conversation was happening, you're going to Waze and you're figuring out the traffic to get to your destination faster. And it's very obvious where to go, right? Because it could be 30 minutes faster. And then as you're in the middle, something completely changes and now that route doesn't work anymore, or a new route has opened up that was blocked and you take that route, you're making a new decision. It doesn't mean you were wrong on how you started. Yeah. Memphis, as an example, is potentially going to reevaluate what they're going to do if dominoes fall. Like Gonzaga moving maybe has them move faster for Connecticut in the Big 12 because of something. Like, who the hell knows what the domino path?
Well,
and then like the last thing.
Yeah. I was just going to say that UConn of the Big 12 thing. Did we talk about that in the live show yesterday? I don't even remember these. That there's been positive movement on that.
Yeah, you said something about a Texas school is now on board, and you could probably
okay. But was that yesterday or the day before? I don't remember.
It was last night. And I understand everything's really fast moving.
Yeah.
Then, like, the only other quick question I had in terms of UTEP, and then I'll jump off, is I'm not even questioning that decision. Like, in my head, UTEP is a brand that's bigger than some of the ones in Texas we've been talking about from a historical perspective, if not recency bias. But just more of, where did that come from relative to everything else? Because if we went back like 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, UTEP was not one of the schools that I saw anyone really mention in any way, shape, or form amongst the North Texas, UTSA, all New Mexico's, all of the various things from San Jose to Sacramento State. So I'm just curious if you have any insight, not about why they're doing it, but how that accelerated ahead of other things.
Well, the UTSA and all that was about moving to the Pac-12. That was about moving to the Pac-12. The North Texas was.
But
about
some of them
moving.
have like two choices theoretically, right? Like
yeah,
they're
in our UTSA isn't going to the Mountain West. It's just so. So, Utah, the whole Mountain West. We mentioned UTEP, but they were at the bottom of the Texas candidates, and I think that's where the Mountain West. No offense or anything. This is a big day for UTEP. They've been trying to get back. They've been trying to get to the Mountain West forever. And they did it. So congratulations, UTEP. But when it comes to the domino pieces, they're below all those, the North Texas, UTSA, Texas State. But it got to them, and they took it. I don't think UTEP was ever going to be a Pac-12 candidate.
Yeah, I mean, just generally the pool of schools that were being mentioned across both, where some had one destination, some had another, and some were possibly on both radars. I just don't remember them being in that conversation.
Yeah.
So it's good for them. Congrats to those fans. It's been a tough slate for them as well. Like, I kind of almost think of them as an SMU light without the death penalty, right? From where they were 30 or 40 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
So awesome, man. Well, I'm glad your tech's working, and I look forward to hearing how this breaking here.
Appreciate it.
For sure.
Thank you, sir.
Be good.
Beautiful call by Rock and Rant, Mr. Miami Hurricane. So let's get to it. Let's get to another breaking news on this Tuesday morning, or Tuesday now noon on the East Coast. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. If you want to donate to this college football rebel outpost for you sickos out there in college football land, hit the $sign where you make a comment, and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. In fact, let me go to super chat, which I haven't gotten to yet, and that is Steve-O, Will the Sun Belt add just 1 or 3 to get to 16? If they lose Texas State, I would imagine they just add 1. And we'll go look at that when it becomes official, right? When it becomes official, Texas State leaving, if it becomes official, we'll take a look at that. We are going to have to take a look at Conference USA's options because they just lost UTEP. And I believe the only Texas school they got in Conference USA now is Sam Houston. Delaware is coming on board. UMass is coming on board. They're going to be odd. They're still going to have an odd number, I believe, in Conference USA. If I'm getting all that correct. Let me look at it. Make sure I'm not completely screwing everything up. Conference USA. There is Conference USA. So they've got 10 members. Without UTEP, they got 9. With Delaware fighting Blue Hens and UMass, they're back up to 11 in a couple years. So do they grab another school? Now, Delaware comes next year in 2025. So that would be their 10th member. Maybe they can wait to 2026 to add a member with UMass coming on board. I believe that's the case. Let me know if I'm getting all that wrong, guys. It's a lot to keep up with. Thank you, Steve-O, for the super chat, for your generosity. I do appreciate it. Missouri State's going to Conference USA. UMass is, okay. UMass is going to the MAC. That's correct. How could I forget that? Back to the MAC. Missouri State's going to Conference USA. Still, they're going to be in an odd number, right? Okay, let's get to the breaking news. Nicole Auerbach. Inbox. A press release from the group called College Sports Tomorrow proposing the formation of a college student football league. The top 72 FBS schools would be in it. The new league would establish an independent, impartial entity to reorganize college football for the benefit of the 136 football bowl subdivision, FBS schools, and student athletes in all sports. The CSFL would include all the current FBS in 2 conferences made up of geographically based divisions. The top 72 programs would compete in the Power-12 conference, with the remaining 64s facing off in the second conference, the group of 8. The best 8 schools in the group of 8 would have the opportunity to play up into the upper tier of the following season. Regulation. The CSFL format is better for schools, student athletes, fans, and media partners because more schools will be in the hunt for the playoffs well into November, unlike the current system, which most schools are out by October. Well, that's not true. Not this October. Not this year. Jimmy had a longtime University of Tennessee philanthropist, owner of the Cleveland Browns. The CFL would directly compensate all student-athlete football players, not just the stars. Transfer portal rules would be a product of collective negotiations between CSFL and the association representing football student-athletes. So anyways, you can give us a call if you want to talk about that. I like the collective bargaining part of it. Eventually, that's what we're going to have to go to. I think the chances of that happening is about the chance of me becoming a swimsuit model in the next 6 months or ever. The fat guy from Minnesota becoming a swimsuit model has about as much chance of that happening as a 72 school super league conference and broken up in divisions. Geographic divisions. That's not gonna happen. Just not gonna happen. So you're saying there's a chance. Phone lines are now open, 763-260-1333. If you want to call in and talk about it, go right ahead. If you want to support it and say eventually something like this has to happen, there is some good arguments to be made. I just don't think I don't think it's possible, really.
Call from
BJ.
BJ, the floor is yours.
Hey, Greg, question for you. You mentioned, this was a few months, it was this summer, I remember, there was another group that was headed by some other rich guy that proposed something similar to this. I don't remember the name, but I just remember it was a different group. Are you familiar with that? Do you remember reporting that earlier this summer?
Yeah, but I did not give much details of it. It wasn't this. I can tell you that because all I can tell you, and I don't know how deep I went into it last time, but all I can tell you is there were people who were hired as consultants.
Yep.
They went into and they formulated a basic idea of a 48-team Super League, and the 48 teams were selected, and I don't know who those 48 teams were the number one criteria of the 48 teams were brand value of what the network partners would consider the top 48 brand values. That was a group that worked on it, and people were paid to do it and everything. I don't think that's what this is 72. I don't think that went to 48 to 72. Maybe it's the same group of people working on it. I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
It was a different group because I think the head of the last group was an NBA executive. It wasn't Haslam. It was somebody from the NBA.
Okay.
But my point is, I said to say this, and I know it's a news cycle, and Arbach is very respected, and Athletic is a very respectable publication. They're just doing their job, right? Because sometimes when I say things, I think it's taken out of context. But if it is not coming from Sankey, Batiti, a la ESPN or their network partners, it has little to no chance of making it. Because I think I've listened to Sankey long enough. If it does not benefit him and his group, it's not even making it to his desk.
Yeah.
And he mentioned when he talked about Florida State and Clemson, and just any addition to the SEC, I think he was quoted as saying, "I'm not trying to make the pie slices smaller." Mm-hmm. And adding 72 teams or 48 teams or whatever number of teams that's bigger than the 18 that they have, I don't think he's not gonna approve of it. And if anything, it'll just motivate him and Petiti to kind of separate, right? Which I don't think that benefits anybody, right? But as it pertains to this story, the thing that I like most about this story, collective bargaining when it comes to NIL, is important. And I think college football will be in this state of flux until the NIL student payment thing is legalized and agreed upon. I think that's what gets to me as watching, even though I like football, I look at football from a administrative standpoint. And I think for everybody to kind of, for us to really enjoy football again, we need some consistencies. And we don't want our players just jumping from year to year to year joining the different teams. And the only way to prevent that is some kind of collective bargaining agreement where if you sign this contract, you have to be here for a certain number of years, similar to the pro contracts, right? You sign a deal, you're here until we cut you or whatever, and then there's a severance package. You're not going to be kicked out to the door. But I'll get off your line, but you can tell me your opinion about this current iteration of an option and how you feel about if it's legitimately going to do anything to the current setup of college football.
All right, I'll take that off the air. I'll take that off the line. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I've said, look, if some sort of Super League happens, there are two options of how it's going to happen. One, it's going to be created by some outside group with loads and loads and loads and loads of private equity cash, ready to lure Alabama into it, ready to lure Ohio State into it, ready to take the biggest brands with big equity, make it NFL light, true NFL light. That's a possibility. That could happen. I don't know what the chances are. It could happen. Big monster private equity rolling in to really shake things up. And if that happens, I'm going to try to provide you the peek around the corner to that. The other option that I think is at least viable is the Super League, somehow, some breakaway, something is done in the hands of the Big Ten and the SEC. And they say it benefits us to break away, and we'll take some more of these schools, some in the Big 12 and the ACC, and we'll break away, and this is our Super League. Bigger than the Big Ten and the SEC, a little bit bigger, whatever. Those are the two viable options. Not a group of consultants and getting together and calling Ohio State and Michigan I don't think it's going to work from the bottom up, unfortunately. I think it's going to work from the top down. The biggest money that hasn't come into college football creating some sort of Super League, at least to me, it's somewhat could be viable. In other words, private equity. Or the SEC and the Big Ten, either break away or saying like the top 8 brands of the Big Ten and the top 12, the SEC, whatever. And take a couple top big brands of the Big 12, the ACC, and have their 2014. That could possibly happen. I don't think it will. I'm just saying it's viable. It could happen. I don't think this 72 team, if there's going to be a Super League, it ain't going to be 70 teams or 60 teams, and it ain't going to be created by those who are not at the very top of the power pyramid. It just doesn't work that way. I happen to think there's going to be a Big Ten conference in 2032, an SEC conference in 2032. I think there's going to be a Big 12 conference in 2032. I think there's going to be an ACC in 2032. It's probably going to be a lot more devalued. I think realignment never sleeps. I think we're going to be talking about this long after I am gone. And I don't envision, but I'm also not going to just say no chance of a breakaway Super League, because there's a lot of money out there, guys. There's a lot of money out there, gals, who are looking to see if they can make more money by prying away the very top brand schools and to create its own universe. We'll see what happens.
Call from
Evil Badger.
Evil Badger is on the line. The floor is yours. First of all, 1 second. I'm sorry, Evil Badger. Mount West, UTEP, it's official. Okay, everybody? It's official. It's on. I'm showing you on the screen. Mountain West, UTEP, it's done. They've got 8 full members. They've got 7 full-time members. The Mountain West needs at least 1 more full-time member, and they're probably going to go up to 3, at least 3 more full-time members. We've been told here at Peek Around the Corner. Thank you for your patience, Evil Badger. The floor is yours.
Hi, Greg. The one thing with this Super League BS, excuse my language, but it doesn't make any sense if all these conferences are doing realignment and then they're just going to do a Super League where everything is regional. Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Yep. It doesn't make sense. No sense whatsoever. And the media companies don't want that. Yep. Yeah. I agree.
And with the other morning host that I won't mention, he's always bringing up like a 60 team Super League. And I'm like, well, that's going to only half the FBS, basically. And after this weekend, if the Badgers don't beat Purdue, I want Fickle gone.
You want Fickle gone?
Yeah, if they don't beat Purdue, which is the worst team in the Big Ten.
Yeah. First of all, you're gonna. Oh, I better not. I'm Greg the Cooler, obviously, but Evil Badger, listen to me now. Listen to me. I know I'm always wrong, okay? But you're not gonna lose to Purdue. There's no way in God's green earth are the Badgers gonna lose to the Boilermakers. And I mean this with no disrespect to Purdue. They have got really good fans. They're the most underrated fan base in the Big Ten. But that team is horrifyingly bad this year. Wisconsin's going to have no problem beating Purdue. So, but I understand what you're saying. If they do, your coach is going to be in a lot of trouble. But I think you're going to be okay, my friend.
I hope so. But, well, that's all I had, and thank you for letting me speak on your platform.
And I thank you for all your support, Evil Badger, Ryan Willie. I appreciate that. I call you Evil Badger, but you are very kind, and I appreciate it, sir.
You're welcome.
You got it. Thank you. Call again.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Dennis Dodd, I got to post this. Members of the College Sports Tomorrow revealed no mention of a launch date of revenue. Good idea if employer hits. I asked one member what happens to the likes of Greg Sankey. Will buy them out. So the members of this College Sports of Tomorrow, Chris Bevlawakwa, Grant Hill, Dimmy and Jimmy Haslam, the University of Tennessee and all that stuff, Len Perna, Mark Larsley, co-founder and CEO of Avenue Capital, Mark Abbott, executive in residence of Georgetown University, and of course Grant Hill, board member, Duke University, Bubba Cunningham, director of athletics, University of North Carolina, Danny White, the director of athletics, University of Tennessee, Gordon Gee, these are ambassadors, West Virginia, The University President of Syracuse, as we've all known, oh boy, Kirby Holcutt, the director of athletic director at Texas Tech University. I got to be careful how I say this. Do I say this? Do I let this slip out? Yeah, you only live once. After looking at the members and the ambassadors, my first take is they must have some private equity money backing them. I'm going to post it again here. They must have some big time private equity money backing them. They're talking about Greg Sankey will buy them out. My second take, and I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to. My second take is, boy, there's some loose lips on that screen. There's some loose lips sink ships. That's all I'm going to say on that. Wow. They've got some talkers on that members or that ambassador list.
Call from
BJ.
BJ, the floor is yours.
Heck. So a few things. The bottom out comment, without me having any context, it's probably the most ludicrous comment I think I've heard in a long time. Because to buy them out, there's these long-standing contracts that these schools have with these networks, right? That are billions of dollars. So the amount of money it would take to buy them out, you would have to be the Saudi investment fund.
And maybe they are.
So for one, that's kind of odd. Now for two, like, you know, what I think is interesting, and it's from a realistic standpoint, because this league is in theory, right? Cool, we can dream, okay, great. But in theory, I wonder if Sankey were to read the list of people on this board, how do you think he would look at it, seeing that Bubba Cunningham is on these list of advisors for this hypothetical league?
Yeah, I don't know how he would look at that. There's Duke on there, there's North Carolina on there, there's Syracuse on there, there's West Virginia on there. Danny White, the athletic director of the University of Tennessee, former director of athletics at University of Buffalo, where he got his great start. And so Danny White is the name on there that he might have an issue with. Danny White is the name on there. So
I was thinking Danny White for sure, but I think out of the teams you named, North Carolina was rumored, that, hey, they are the eye of the SEC, North Carolina, Virginia. And so, Sankey prides himself on everybody being in alignment. Right? He goes out of his way to kind of make that known. And I think you have to have a mindset that I think that just thinking about this league takes away from focusing on what, the current league is kind of set up to be like. Like, I can see him being a little, bewildered by Danny White being a part of this group when all your energy should be focused on how do we make more money in the current setup.
Yeah, here it is. I got up on the screen. Danny White, athletic director, Tennessee. That's the name that's on that list that I think is going to get people talking. Very interesting.
Or fired.
Well, he ain't going to get fired. I mean, he's not an employee of Sankey. He's an employee of Tennessee. But yeah, pretty interesting.
Now, Ian, I'll get off here, Greg.
You got it.
I just wanted to give my comments on that list of folks on that list.
Appreciate it. Again, Ryan Willie, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Lewis Pop, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Nick M, UCF Island, T. Lawrence Gregston. You are all new members of Early Peak Cloak and Dagger. Thank you, Ryan Willie, for your incredible generosity. Unbelievable. You are all hereby knighted Cloak and Dagger. So for the 5 new members, please go to our YouTube channel and check out episode 48 of Early Peak Cloak and Dagger. We dropped it. When did we drop it? Yesterday morning? Yesterday afternoon? Yesterday about noontime. Go check it out. Again, just go check it out. Please go. It's already gotten I think it's the most viewed membership-only episode we've ever had. And it's what we talk about in episode 48 is going to pop. It's going to come. We're giving you the peak. People are going to be talking about it a month from now, 2 months from now, just like we gave the peak on September 9th about the Big Ten still aggressively going for 4 qualifying spots. Thank you, Ryan Willie, for your incredible generosity. I do appreciate it so very much.
Call from
Dave Volinsky.
Dave, I was just going to... Can I please do your super chat first? I just put it up on the screen. I apologize. I've called a couple of times, have not gotten in. Super chat. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for your generosity. And thank you for calling in. I know it's tough. We've been having a whole lot of technical issues. I think we've squared it away. I think we're ready to rock and roll in October. Thank you, Dave. The floor is yours.
Well, I left a couple of messages. I have to report a crime right now. I have to say I don't believe in the death penalty, but I think that the TV executives, the conference presidents, the athletic directors all deserve the death penalty.
Wow.
They killed college football.
Wow.
I'm so I just don't like this whole entire realignment constantly going on. The rivalries are gone. I don't understand how Army and Navy have joined a conference, but they still get to play before they still get to play after the conference championship.
Yes, they do.
So they have a regular season game because of tradition.
Yeah, well, but it's agreed upon by all parties. It's not going to be a conference game.
It's not going to be a conference game?
Nope, it's not going to be a conference game. You're going to know what the AAC championship game is before that game is played. Yep. That's what's been reported.
Oh, I have no idea why would they do it that way?
Because they're not going to move the date of the Army-Navy game, and they're not going to move the date of the conference championship game. That's what's been reported. It's pretty interesting because both schools are 4-0 right now, and they're looking to be possibly the top 2 AAC teams in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this, if you really want to have a serious college football playoff, I take it, you're also from Minnesota like me. We've talked before. We all know how the hockey system works. Why can't they do the hockey system? Like have 16 teams, and I'll say this. Not the top five, or not the Power Four conferences. All their champions get an automatic bid in, like in basketball and hockey, and the smaller conferences, their champions have to have at least 10 wins to get in. If not, it goes to another Power 5 school, at-large bid Power 5 school next up. So that to me makes sense. And that will include Notre Dame, because Notre Dame, if they get 10 wins with their strength of schedule, usually, that they should at least be considered for an at-large bid all the time.
Well, I don't think they can put a number of wins to any formula, right? I mean...
Well, yeah, it's just that, it would make more sense to me if you're a weak, non-Power 5 conference, and your conference champion doesn't have, 10 wins, it would eliminate that conference champion. They just go to a nice little bowl game and get a little pat on the head.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of saving we have for this. You make it automatic championships and you just have 6 at large. But that will, pee off a lot of the the former Power 5, now Power 4 conferences. I don't know. I mean, to me, it made more sense to me, and the whole idea, we can only have 4 teams in. I'm sorry, they can only have 14 teams in. Well, just go up to 16. What's the point?
All right, man. I appreciate the call, Dave. We got breaking news. Right. More breaking news.
Okay, talk to you later.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm even going to show it. Matt Fortuna, realignment never sleeps. Absolutely. Brett McMurphy's having some fun out there. Ryan Willie. Yormark took a big L losing out on Gonzaga. Well, Gonzaga did go into the Holy Smokes Theater at one point, but then we announced that they got in the car and drove away. Gonzaga wanted to bring all their sports into the Big 12, and the Big 12 was not interested. We don't have the final details on Gonzaga joining the Pac-12. Is it just as a basketball member? Are they going to bring their baseball program in? We do not know. At least I don't know. Maybe it's been reported out there. And I don't know. Thank you, Ryan Willie, for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Team Mac, in honor of the Zags joining the Pac-12, might not be great in football, but we can play in hoops. Go Aztecs. Absolutely correct. San Diego State, Gonzaga are now going to be conference mates in basketball. Absolutely correct, and that only helps San Diego State and Gonzaga. T-Mac, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. The question I have for T-Mac is, does he expect? Does San Diego State expect? Does anybody expect in one other basketball addition into the Pac-12 to where you're going to have the same amount of you're going to have an even amount of Pac-12 basketball teams? So is there going to be another addition? Another another non-football addition to the basketball league of the Pac-12? It's all sports, Greg. Okay. Big 12 didn't want that. Big 12 was not interested in that. That's what happened. All sports confirmed. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Softball, volleyball. So they're getting a full ride, full member, even though they don't have a football program. That is a very good deal for Gonzaga. Casano says GCU. That may be true. Canzano was ripping on Brett McMurphy's reporting. I think Canzano should just be more focused on being more accurate and not take shots at other reporters. Canzano is, I don't know. Charles Chamberlain, competition requires the outcomes results from on-field performance. Isolated scheduling plus guaranteed CBS slots is the opposite of competition. There is all truth to that comment. And competition is the product you're selling. You're selling history. You're selling drama. You are selling, what's the word I'm looking for? History, drama, pageantry. College football has pageantry that the NFL and others don't. You're selling all of that, but the main component you're selling is competition. Nobody wants to see blowouts every week. Nobody wants to see a limited number of schools competing at the highest level. Nobody wants to see that. That's why the NFL is the most popular sports league or either Premier League or NFL, whatever, the top American sports league, the NFL, because competition. And guaranteed CBS, again, when I'm reporting this, I'm definitely not saying I'm for it. I'm just reporting that this is what the Big Ten is shooting for and the motivations why. And it has to do with their networks in large part. But that is a great comment, Mr. Charles Chamberlain. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your generosity. I do appreciate it. There is still a lot of people there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now outside of college football. So this is it was just reported that 100 missiles were launched from Iran to bases in Israel. 100 missiles were launched. That's just happened. There was a shooting in Israel and everything's going pear-shaped. Wow.
From
BJ.
BJ, this is your fourth call. What's going on, sir?
It is. I'm paying attention. So I have a comment. You made a comment about what is being sold, right, in terms of college football and NFL, right?
Yeah.
I disagree with you a little bit, and I'll explain with you why. I think the NFL sells competition. I think the pure competition is what they sell. I think in college, up until like maybe the BCS, it was pure pageantry, right? Competition really wasn't at the forefront. I think with the BCS and the postseason and the CFP after that, I think they're trying to mix it up where they keep the pageantry, right, in the regular season, but in the playoffs, they want competition. I think if you look at the CFP bylaws, they mention how they have the right to kind of choose a team they think that's going to perform better, right? So I think they're trying to mix the two. They tried to mix the two for like the past, 15 years or so. But I see the trajectory for the selling of college football being similar to the NFL. Well, with the regular season and the pageantry is not going to be as marketed and sold nationally. I think the idea of you have this big, powerful Big Ten having a scheduling agreement with a big, powerful SEC, to me, just supports the idea of we're trying to market competition, or that's the plan, to market competition, do away with old rivalries. We're probably going to keep the core rivalries, but the secondary and tertiary rivalries will not be they're not as marketable, but I can get a northern team versus a southern team, and that's going to sell. So I don't think college has marketed competition like the NFL has marketed pure competition. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from how I look at it, I think there's two distinct marketing and advertising pieces to the NFL and college football. But again, thank you, Greg. I want to hear your comments on it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. I appreciate BJ calling in. This is not a BJ rule, but this is going to be the new rule of college football peek around the corner. You can call this program twice on a live show, but we're going to have to limit it to 2 calls. I'm not going to limit it to 1 call because sometimes I'll say something back and you want to call back, and that's all fine. Or if there's been breaking news, whatever. If you need to call for a 3rd time, ask permission in the chat if there's some circumstance that would call for it. But yeah, we're going to have to limit it to 2 calls for everybody. But in answer the question, I do get the, it wasn't, BJ is correct. It wasn't out, the competition part wasn't always at the front of everybody's mind when they were selling college football in the 70s and the 80s and the 60s. But now it is. Now it is. And so that has to be an important component. One of the components to competition, again, I think to take it back to the Super League, 72-team Super League that was proposed by this group of people.
From
Charles Chamberlain.
Charles, can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it. One of the component of competition, everything is, in my strongly held opinion, is the collective bargaining agreement between representatives of the student athletes and the schools and or conferences to get more where these students, these players they get more benefit, but they also buy in more. In other words, where these schools can have a player sign for 2 or 3 years. Competition where you can structure your roster. You know who's coming or going, at least somewhat of what is going on your roster. Competition can be improved upon in so many different ways. We're never gonna, in my opinion, we're never gonna get a hard salary cap like the NFL, or sort of a flexible hard cap with a luxury tax like the NBA. It's probably gonna be more like Major League Baseball, but there are ways to drive more competition. This 72 team Super League, that is one of the positive. It's the one thing they can get traction on is selling competition, like 72 teams, all in regional divisions. Everyone's going to get paid basically the same. That's not going to happen where everybody gets paid the same and all that. But it is the traction that it has. But anyways, Mr. Chamberlain, thanks for calling. The first, let it rip.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm going to disagree with your previous caller, obviously, about competition. In my mind, competition requires you to allow opportunities for your team and teams in your conference to lose to other conferences. That's what competition requires. It requires on-the-field meetings where the outcome is determined by performance, by ability, and capability. Mm-hmm. And when you isolate yourself, you're limiting competition. You're limiting opportunities for competition. You know, there's a whole lot of echo chamber in some of these conferences about how they're the best and we know because we play each other and we only lose to each other. But what competition requires is for you to step out and to go head to head with other teams and lose. Have the ability to lose to them. Have the ability to beat you. You look at these national professional leagues, right? And they don't isolate anyone from the ability to lose from the weakest team in another division. And that's because that's the basic principle of competition. And that's what we're getting away from when we start talking about guaranteed spots, especially when you combine that with an isolated scheduling agreement. We talk about professional models and we want to ignore the fact that also in all these professional models, what they have is a draft of the players. And the draft prevent dynasties. And there's obvious reasons why you can't do that with college ball, because hopefully the majority of people going to college for sports, the biggest benefit is coming out of the education that they receive. And these young kids, they can't, we talk about long-term contracts. In some states, these kids, they haven't reached the age of majority to enter into a legally binding contract. Mm-hmm. So they can't even have a legally binding contract. So the way you have the competition is you make people play each other.
Yeah. Great call, man. Mr. Chamberlain, where are you, Charles? What team do you support? Where are you in the country? What is, if you don't mind saying, if you do mind saying, then don't have to answer.
I don't have a problem. I grew up in Kansas as a K-State fan. Okay. And then I went to Brigham Young University for my undergrad, and I have a law degree from the University of Nebraska. So I'm basically following three teams.
Holy smokes! And all three teams are pretty interesting follow this year. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We could talk about the 5-0 BYU team no one anticipated, including myself.
Yeah. Which is a good thing for BYU. I like Jake Ratzlaff. I know he makes mistakes. I know that. But I like him. I like his feist. He's feisty. He's a tough kid.
Yeah, he made some bad mistakes, but every quarterback makes bad mistakes. When you look at his rating, I think he's making up for him this year. He didn't last year. But he was also thrown into a situation I don't think he was ready for last year.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate the call. I need you to call this show back again. Okay? This is your first time, right?
Oh, I called one other time, but it was a so ago. It's been a while.
I apologize. I can't remember everything. I'm slipping in my old age. Thanks, sir. Call again.
All right, thanks.
Beautiful call. I have said this before. I'll say it again. The PATC community is a lot smarter than the host. And if you need more proof of that, I don't know what you're looking at. We've been having a hard time technologically on this channel. Hopefully we have it all squared away going forward. We had to do some updates. But anyways, so you can see the host is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. JMath, please send it to me. Hey, Greg, Big 12 News. Texas A&M Regents set Monday meeting to discuss SEC. If there's any validity to that, send it to me on my text message. Send it to me on my DM account at Twitter. I don't know anything about. It ain't big. Texas A&M and the Big 12's not happening. I can tell you that. So, but anyways, if there's some Texas A&M news out there, send it to my Twitter. T-Mac, I believe that Memphis is still in play for the PAC. Big donor blowbacks was intense against the athletic director. St. Mary's and GCU would be worthy basketball-only ads. I agree there was a big blowback, and it was possibly a big donor blowback, and that means something. That is very important. Memphis sort of let it leak, I believe, on what the numbers were about. I don't know if the Pac-12 enjoyed that being leaked, but I think the AD might have somebody with interest for Memphis might have leaked that out. I don't know if that can be repaired. I don't know, T-Mac. There is a lot of. Then you're gonna have if Memphis doubles back and gets a better offer from the PAC. Does Tulane? You got to get everybody back on board. I don't know. I don't know if that is going on. A&M is not leaving the SEC. A&M ain't leaving the SEC. Texas Tech doesn't want A&M in the Big 12. Yeah, someone's going to have, if there's something going on, please send it to me. But I can't imagine anything going on with Texas A&M. Ryan Willie, I'll keep it to once per show since I get nervous calling into the shows with my disability. Ryan, you do a great job calling into the show. You do an absolutely beautiful job. And mainly it is a one call per person type of show. But you can call a second time. I'm not going to keep it to one time, but let's make it a rule, 2 calls per person, unless you get permission. You know, let's say there's breaking news, something about the Badgers you want to call and talk about, and you've already called twice, then I'll give you the go ahead and you can call a third time. But we're going to put some guardrails around the number of phone calls. I do like BJ calling. I like everybody calling. I don't want to be a stickler on the rules. Hold on one second here. I'm reading something. Interesting. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to shut it down. That's not what I was saying, BJ. That's not what I'm saying, BJ. The rule is going to go for everybody. 2 calls, unless you want to get permission for a 3rd call. I think I'm being more than fair. I think I'm being more than fair. The 3rd rule call was, I think maybe I already made that rule before and I forgot about it. Because, yeah. You got to be careful with the sarcasm, BJ. Honestly. Thank you. 2 calls is fair. No question about it. Okay, guys, we're going to shut it down. I want to thank everybody. The very generous donations. I appreciate it, and I can't quite... I want to thank Ricky Tungate, Steve-O, The Evil Badger, Ryan Willie, Dave Valensky, T-Mac, Charles Chamberlain. Thank you all for your incredible generosity to help us keep the lights on. I want to thank everybody for the incredible comments in the chat room. It was lively, respectful, a lot of great comments. Appreciate it. And I want to thank the phone calls. Incredible phone calls. That is the engine that keeps this show going. Thank you so very much. Again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on those notifications. We could come on live again today. We came on live twice yesterday. We could do it again today with more breaking news. So keep your head on a swivel. We're still looking at the Pac-12 still needs to make another addition, at least one more. The Mountain West still needs to make at least one more. And we have heard it's going to be at least 3 more. We'll find out here shortly together if we've got any other breaking news, any other nuggets of information that we receive. We'll first put it out on our membership-only episode, and then we'll come out on live to tell everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. Until next time, which could be very soon from now. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.